So, MRI scan. I had one yesterday. I thought I'd do a little bit of a video blog about what it's like, really. Only because I'm doing this 1,000 miles to work thing, and I thought actually understanding a bit more about congenital heart defects into the bargain probably isn't bad. So it's only my third MRI scan, in fact. When I was little, they hadn't been invented yet. That makes me sound really ancient. Anyway, had my first one about 4 months before my last operation, so about 9 or 10 years ago now. Have to admit it was quite terrifying, mostly because I knew the results would mean that they'd know what to do about my operation. I didn't want an operation, or I did, but I was scared about it. So that wasn't very nice. It was the first one, and although my friend had come with me, I was by myself in the room. It was a really long old MRI machine, so I couldn't see the top or the bottom, and it felt kind of like being in a coffin. Really didn't like it. Second one I had a few years ago, and my partner came with me and was fiddling with my hair through the top of the machine, which was nice. And I watched a film. They had a little mirror, so I watched a film. But it was another long one. It was nearly 2 hours, just because I've got quite a bit wrong with my heart, or different to other people, however you want to look at it. So yeah, it was quite long. And then I had one yesterday. I got a bit freaked out at the beginning, to be honest, because I turned up and they were, they said, right, here we are, and they had a kidney dish with a couple of cannula, those things that go in your hand. And I sort of said, okay, stop, hold on, thought I was here for an MRI, don't understand why you're doing that, why do I need that, and got all a bit freaked. But they explained that one was for dye in one arm and one was for adenosine in the other arm, which is a kind of... it's like having mainlining caffeine, is the only way I can explain it. A really, really strong caffeine, so it makes you feel quite panicky and hot and flushed, and gives you some chest pain and stuff, because they want to see, I guess, how you'll react to that kind of stuff. So yeah, one in one arm and one in the other. And then they kind of, you lie down on the bed and they kind of strap you in, not tight, but they strap you in so you can't move much, so your arms are kind of by your sides. And then they put you in the tunnel. And it was quite nice because the tunnel was probably about that high. The one I went in before was about that high, which was really quite scary, but this was about that high, so it wasn't too bad. And it was a shorter tunnel, so it only stopped just above my knees. So if I kind of tilted my head slightly, I could see a bit of light at the end of the tunnel, so that wasn't so bad. But there was no music and no video. So all I could hear was breathe in, breathe out, hold your breath. And then after like 10 seconds, 15 seconds, 20 seconds, breathe away. Only 3 or 4 times she forgot to say breathe away, and I was left lying there thinking, okay, I'm slightly going blue now, and in the end just made a kind of decision that I should start breathing again. But I did that for about an hour and a half, and it was actually all right. I mean, it's not very nice, but it was all right, because every minute or so she was sort of giving me instructions and talking to me. And then I think a new doctor had come over to look at a different part of my heart. I think my aorta, and the others were looking at the coronary and pulmonary and stuff. And they obviously found it a lot more interesting, and they sort of stopped talking to me. And for about 3 or 4 minutes, I was lying there by myself, and I actually got quite scared. And it wasn't very nice at all. And I ended up clicking the kind of panic button thing and saying, "Excuse me, is anybody there?" And there were, so it was fine. But then they shut up again for about another 5 minutes. And you're lying there thinking, okay, so either you found something, and to you it's very interesting, to me it's going to be absolutely terrifying, or you're just planning it, and I really shouldn't interrupt you, or the machine's broken, or you've all gone for coffee. Anyway, so I pressed the button again, and I think they got a bit frustrated at that point, because they were obviously deep in conversation. They were like, "Are you okay? Right, well, we're getting on with things here." And I wasn't very happy at that point. I had a little tear, but I couldn't wipe it away because I couldn't bring my arms up to my face. So that was all a bit pathetic and silly, but it's only because you kind of get wound up. You feel so vulnerable because you're lying there and you can't sit up. You can't kind of move very much. You can't get out. So anyway, we did it though. It was about an hour and 55 minutes, 2 hours in the machine. The adenosine bit was quite mental. But I did it all, and although I've had quite a few palpitations and stuff since, I don't know whether that's the adenosine or that was just because I'd wound myself up a bit. And so if you wind yourself up a bit, you're bound to sort of, I don't know, feel on edge for a day or so. So it could have just been that. But it's all done. Hopefully I won't need another one for another 5 years or so. Fingers crossed. So there's like a little extract of what it's like to be a completely healthy person who can do all this cycling and do lots of stuff, and but still always have a little bit of reminder that you're not quite the same as some other people with regards to plumbing. Not the downstairs, the heart, obviously. Anyway, so there's a little bit of info from me, and I hope you found it interesting. Cheers. Bye.